Hey everyone, this is Miko with the Permit Empire, and I am just jumping in here. I wanted to do a quick live video today. I wanted to talk a little bit about building your permit running service, and I wanted just to talk about just a great foundational way to build your permit running service. I also want to again thank everyone who participated in the online workshop on Saturday. I want to let you know that I really do appreciate it, and I will be getting that replay to you very soon. I actually have to edit it. I noticed that there was a little bit of personal information that flashed on the screen at one point, so I want to edit that out and get that over to you as soon as possible. So bear with me a couple more days. I should have it to you pretty soon. But I wanted to just make a quick video today. I wanted to talk a little bit about really creating that foundation for your permit running service or your permit running business. Now, I've had a lot of questions, of course, about permit running and just different things. And I really wanted to kind of just talk a little bit about, building that solid foundation, that beginning, just that good beginning to get yourself started correctly. Hey, Robin, how you doing? It's so good to see you in here today. Thank you for joining in. But yes, so I just wanted to talk really quick about just making sure that you're setting a good foundation for your business, for your permit running service, so that definitely you'll be able to just kind of build and make sure that you have profit coming into your business. So, of course, first things first, I'm always going to tell you, and when it comes to the permit running service, that you need to make sure that you are marketing your services to the right clientele. Yes, we can just market, a miss and kind of throw out, hey, tell everybody we know and put all that information out there. Hey, how you doing? Is that Ike or Icky 73? Hey, how you doing? So glad to see you in here. But sure, it's easy to just say I'm throwing it out there a miss. I'm making sure everybody knows that I do permit running service. But you really want to make sure that the right people, that the right potential clients know about the service that you are going to be, giving, that you're going to be doing. You want to make sure that you're getting in front of the right people. So of course, I'm always talking about main thing, the main person you have to get in front of, or the main business you need to get in front of is definitely contractors. Now, I usually just say that, I throw that out there, and I kind of almost say it in a way that I'm assuming everyone knows what I'm talking about. So I wanted to take a minute to kind of slow that back and pull it back and make sure I'm explaining that correctly. Hey, Shantae, how you doing? So good to see you in here. Hey, I see you, Trista. Nice to see you in here too. Thank you guys so much for joining me. But yes, I wanted to slow that back a little bit because I don't want to assume that everyone knows what a contractor is. I always just say contractor, make sure you're promoting to contractors, but I want to make sure you know what that is, because a lot of people consider different things a contractor. Like, we may be considered contractors because we're offering a service, and we're not a W-2 employee. We may be 1099. So we're also considered contractors. But the people or the businesses that I am referring to are usually tradesmen. You want to make sure that you're getting your business out in front of tradesmen. Contractors are sometimes referred to as tradesmen. And generally speaking, when people think of contractors, like the general contractor, you're thinking of, okay, someone who can build a house. And that's usually what you're thinking about. That is that licensed, that's right, Trista, it's a licensed contractor. They can list you as their agent, exactly. But we're usually thinking about that, certified general contractor, or that state certified general contractor. And that's usually who we're thinking about. Let me put my, advertise to. And the other reason I want to bring this up is because usually those are the contractors. Usually those are the contractors, the general contractors, state certified contractors. Those are usually the contractors who kind of get involved in some of the larger projects. Now, if you have watched my channel for any length of time, or you've had a consult with me, or even was in the workshop with me, I really do push the fact of taking on some of the smaller projects so you can have an understanding of what it is that you're doing first. You don't want to take on something that you can't really handle, and then it becomes a whole problem. And then at that point, you got a bad taste in your mouth about permit running, when in essence, it just wasn't your time to jump into that particular project. Not that you won't ever be able to do it, but it's good to have that understanding first. So that's why I say jump into some of those smaller projects. So for the most part, some of the tradesmen that you could be looking for. Yes, you can get involved with some of the certified general contractors, the state contractors. Yes, those are the the bigger contractors. That happened to you, Atrista? You know what? It happened to me too. So that's why I try to speak about it, because it happened to me and it threw me off. And I was like, and I had to stick with the project though. I stuck with it because I was like, at this point, I'm just looking at it for experience at this point. But if you look for some of the tradesmen first in your area, some of the local tradesmen first, those are some of the good projects. Some of those, they're doing some of those smaller projects, and not that they're like small and you're not going to make any money, but some of those projects, they only go through one review in the building department, which makes it a little bit easier for you to track and to have an understanding of what is needed in those instances. So like when you're dealing with electricians, they are considered contractors, even though a lot of people don't think of them necessarily as contractors. But an electrician is a contractor. That is a tradesman. That is someone, or that is generally someone who is licensed in a particular city or county or state to perform certain and specific duties. They can perform electrical services. A lot of times homeowners can pull a permit, right, for their property, but the building departments do not usually let a homeowner pull an electrical permit. That is very specific, and you have to be licensed. You have to be licensed to do that type of work, because if something goes wrong with your electrical, you could perhaps burn your house down. That could affect your neighbor's home. That could affect tenants. That could affect just the community as a whole if you accidentally set your house on fire because of faulty wiring. So that's usually a very specific type of contractor or tradesman. So yes, we definitely want to be looking for some of the electricians in your area. You can do a search for them on social media. You can do a search for them just on Google. But some of the local electricians, they'll have projects where they need a permit runner because they still have to get permits for their projects as well. So not only electricians, but we also want to be looking out for some of the local plumbers in our area. The plumbers in our areas, again, those are state certified, county certified. They might be city licensed to perform a specific service that a lot of times a homeowner is not allowed to do. And not even just the homeowner, a general contractor can't actually perform plumbing and electrical services. They have to hire a licensed plumber or a licensed electrician to perform certain services. So plumbers, they need permits for their projects. They are considered tradesmen. Yes, they are contractors, but they're also considered tradesmen. They need permits. Those are individuals that you can look to for some of their projects. They have actually, plumbers have a lot of good projects. I have a plumber who I do permits for, and he is contracted with a local retail chain. So for every one of their stores that's in Florida, every time they do a remodel, for the most part, they're putting in a sink. That's a lot of times they're putting in a sink. They're putting in a sink into their stores. He's contracted that no matter where it's at in the state, he's taking on the contract that he will do that plumbing service. So he's a traveling plumber. So at this point, it's actually a pretty good gig too for him. He doesn't mind it at all. So for him, he may travel 6 hours to do, it may seem like a small service, but he's being paid even for his travel time. He needs a permit for that job, even in that other area. So he gets me to go ahead and work on that permit. So by the time he gets there, a permit's already approved for him. He can either pick it up, or if it's an online permit, I'll just email him over the PDF, the approved PDF permit packet. I'll just email it to him and he'll have it on the job site. But plumbers, those are individuals who are considered contractors or tradesmen who are always looking for assistance as well. So not only electricians, you have plumbers. And here's the thing, right? There are also people, or there are also different licenses. There are different breakdowns in your area. A lot of times it's dependent upon the area, but there's other service or tradesmen that need services as well. Like take in our area, there's actually a tradesman or a tradesman license for aluminum specialty. That's basically, if you ever notice that there's like a trellis or a canopy or like a patio in a backyard and it's just all aluminum, right? It's an aluminum structure. There's a contractor who is actually licensed to do just that. He also has to pull permits for those projects. He or she, for if they're taking on those type of projects, those backyard remodels where they're putting up those trellises, they're putting up those patios, they need a permit. And that is something else that you can get involved in. And in a lot of cases, these are permits that only go through one review. Unlike when you're getting involved in a permit for a new construction project, it's going through 5 or 6 different review departments. This is still a very good contractor or service person to get involved in, or tradesperson. Actually, it's a very good person to connect with. Yes, landscapers. I actually just pulled a landscaping permit. Very simple. It goes through one reviewer. Trista, thank you so much for throwing that out there. Yes, landscapers, a lot of times for some of those projects they're doing, they need a permit. I recently said that I got a contract I was doing. I have hotels on the beach, right, that I'm doing the permits for. And one of them required a landscaping permit. So I had to also get the landscaping permit for that, just to beautify the outside of the hotel. They actually had to have a landscaping permit because they were redoing trees and all those kind of things out there, making it really beautiful. But again, those are individuals who need permits. They still have to have layouts or floor plans. Even though it's landscaping, they have to show what it is that they're doing, what services are they providing outside. They still have to provide permit applications. In some areas like Florida, if it's over $2,500, they still need a notice of commencement also on the job site. Those are things that they are willing to pay someone to do. Those are services they're willing to pay someone to do. You also even have AC or mechanical contractors, the AC technicians, AC and heating, HVAC. That's what it's also referred to as. Those are service people who have to have permits to place that new air conditioning unit at your property. They need permits for that. A lot of times those are permits, because even when you go to, let's say you go to resell your house, right? And someone's really interested and you have a nice little price tag on that house, a lot of times what the realtor will do in order to negotiate with you, they'll see, hey, that looks like a new AC unit. Let's see if a permit was ever pulled for this unit. People are aware of that as well. So guess what? Even the AC guys, when they're putting in a new system, they have to get permits for those things. So HVAC, it's called a mechanical permit. HVAC, AC technicians, those service people, they actually do need assistance with those permits too. And these are all really, really good permits and all really, really good service people to do work with, to attempt to, provide these services for. These are people you should be reaching out to on a regular basis, not just the large general contractors who are doing the new developments. Those are great projects, don't get me wrong, but sometimes it's a little bit difficult when you're just jumping out there. Because even Trista, there you go, Trista, even those are projects that sometimes it takes a little bit more than you even thought it did. You may have even underbid the project and realize, hey, I'm out here now doing this project and I'm not really getting paid enough money for it. Because sometimes it's harder to come back to the contractor and say, hey, now give me more money. It's a little bit easier to sometimes already have that considered, up front in your fees, right? Trista, so you're getting new clients. I am glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. And yes, and that's the thing I think people don't realize. And doing a lot of consultations too, I realize people think that contractors won't pay. And that's also part of why I stopped telling people that starting rates for contractor services are at $100. I stopped saying that. Shantae, I'm sorry, Shantae, I didn't realize you said contractors only in Tennessee can contractors pull the permit. Okay, let me kind of explain this too a little bit to you as well, because that's generally speaking, what it is that the contractors do it. But what it is you act as an agent for the contractor. And I don't know if you saw Trista's comment, but yes, you're acting as an agent for that contractor. So that's how we do that in a lot of cases. Some areas, some cities, they require the actual permit runner to have an account and be registered. You might have to get a license. But in some areas like Florida, I'm going to say Tennessee even, they really do want the contractor to be the one pulling the permit, but he can have an agent. He or she can have an agent, and that is where you come in at. You act as the agent for that contractor. But yes, Trista, and I'm going back to you. I'm so glad to hear that you're getting clients. But yes, I stopped telling people that minimum fees were $100 because contractors will pay, because it felt like everyone was kind of leaning more towards saying I'm going to charge $100, and that's not at all what I want you to do. I don't want you to lean towards $100 for a permit, and you're in an area that is quite populated and there's a lot of work going on. You're shortcutting yourself. You're underbidding, actually what you could be getting for these projects. But yes, you should definitely keep in mind, start looking really at service, or don't want to call them service workers, but some of the contractors who do some of the service, what's considered kind of service work. And that is the AC, plumbing, electrical, landscaping, those fence contractors, the ones who are putting up the aluminum specialty license contractors. They're putting up the trellises in the backyards. Start considering some of those contractors when you are putting your services out there, when you're advertising your services. Those are good places to start when you're trying to build your business and build your clientele. And a lot of those service or trades people, a lot of them will refer you gladly to some of their friends who happens to be contractors or tradesmen as well. They'll gladly refer you, and this is a great way to build a solid foundation for your permit running business. And sure, up front, you might get a little pushback from some people, but you keep going to the next. Move to the next, because you can offer them services. You can offer to drop off their packages for them. You can do online services for them. These are things that you can do for them. Hey, Shanta, good to see you in here. But yes, so definitely you want to make sure that you're reaching out to those service providers. You want to reach out to them. This is a really good way to build your business, and those are direct connections. A lot of the contractors who do the AC work, the fences, a lot of those contractors, they do want to build, like, they're trying to build a team. That's what they're doing as well. They're building their team. Sharon, you're asking, what if our fee is more than what the contractor has factored in his proposal? Now, I don't know who perhaps you have spoken to about that, because here is the thing. A lot of times that fee isn't, they're not the same. I have seen what contractors are also charging, and that fee, usually what you're charging, at least what I'm advising you to charge, it's usually less than the fee that they've included. Now, some contractors don't include a fee necessarily, but think about it. There is money in their labor. They charge additional for labor, and they've already considered the fact that they had to do this permit run, and they've already considered the fact who's going to be paid for it. Generally speaking, they're thinking that they may have to do it. So they're going to make sure they're being compensated for it. So if they cannot pay your fees, right? If they're not paying your fees, I'll be honest with you. If they're telling you they haven't factored that in, either they're a new contractor and they truly haven't factored it in, like, right? Or they're just trying to get you down on your fees. And that is just what I have seen. A lot of cases, they're just trying to get you down on your fees, because truthfully, there's a difference between what we charge as permit runners versus what the contractors charge for that permit running service. There is, and there's a pretty good difference. Like, even me suggesting to you how much to charge, it's not even the amount that they're charging to their client. It's not. So generally speaking, they have funds in there for a permit runner. They generally have the funds in there for a permit runner. So I wouldn't necessarily take that answer. Now, if they're just trying to talk you down, like it may be a situation they're trying to talk you down, don't take down just because. Like, don't do that, because you'll find yourself kind of lowballing. And a lot of times what I've noticed is some of the clients who want to like talk you down off your price, they end up being kind of the problem client. In a lot of cases, not always, but in a lot of cases, they kind of end up being like a problem client. So know your value, know what you're worth. If they really just don't have it in that one, maybe they can hit you up the next project. Maybe they can get you on that next project, because I don't advise seeing as though like I've seen contracts. Like I usually get a copy of the contract when I'm doing permit running service. I've seen what they put in there for the permit running services. So yeah, don't. Okay, Sharon, you're just asking just in case. You may hear that. You actually may hear that, even though you're saying you haven't actually heard that yet. You may actually hear that. You may hear that. I have had people who say that's too much. Like, how can you charge me that much? And it's like, no, you're charging that much as well. Like I see contracts. So just in case, you will, I can pretty much guarantee you're probably going to hear it from someone. You're going to hear something that's, it's a legit question what you asked, even though you're saying you haven't heard that before. It is something that may come up. They'll say, I don't have it, and I don't even have that in the job. Yeah, you have it in the job. You have it in the job. You do, because I'm not even telling you, I'm not even like recommending that you ask for like crazy amounts of money. But I've seen what they charge versus what I charge, and I know that there's a difference. I know that they can afford it. So even when I do have to go back sometimes, like I try not to. I usually try to have everything considered up front, based off the type of project it is. But if I really have to go back, if I really have to go back, I know already that they do have the money in the project. So I'm not even so super concerned with that comment, but you will hear it. I'm sure you'll hear it. But yes, so definitely make sure that you're building that foundation with the contractors. Start with the tradesmen, start with them. Yes, if you happen to get a contract with you start working with a general contractor and he's doing, just even kitchen and bathroom models, just be aware like some of those they go through different reviews. But start off with some of those service or tradesmen. Start off there. That's a good way to build your business. It's a good way to get those direct connections, because they are also looking to build their team. They're looking to build a team. So to have you on that team, and that is your duty, that's your job. But plus, on top of that, right? Because you're working as a contractor for them. Remember, I said different people consider different things a contractor, right? So because you're a 1099, right, they're not actually giving you a W-2 or whatever. They're considering you also a contractor for them. But mind you, they're not paying insurance or taxes or giving you benefits, those kind of things. So they have one flat fee to consider. That flat fee that you gave them, or however you choose to work out the fee with them, that's the fee that they pretty much know that they're going to have to deal with, and that's what they're going with. So yes, I really wanted to jump in here and just kind of like give you a little encourage, give you a little push in the right direction. Start with some of those tradesmen, some of those plumbers, the HVAC, AC permits, the AC contractors or tradespeople. Start with some of them. Electricians, those are great places to start. Even here in Florida, I know we have like a separate license for window and door contractors. Start with some of those are great places to start, because again, those are usually smaller. Those are usually smaller like practices. If they're trying to get a permit for something, it usually goes through like one review, perhaps two. Even when you're doing like a driveway or fence, a lot of times that goes through maybe one department, possibly two, but it's usually a quicker turnaround. It'll give you a good understanding of what it is you're doing. It'll give you some kind of connection with the building department as well. You can start learning even the online system from those types of permits, but that will give you a good understanding as to what it is that is needed for permitting. And it'll also take away some of that intimidation, because some of those permits get approved faster, right? Because it's going through one reviewer. So here you go. You got your perhaps your driveway, right? You've got that driveway. They're doing a new driveway at the property, and it's just going through the structural department, and it gets approved in 3 days. It helps build up even your confidence as to doing this, and it helps build up your confidence. Now you know what's needed in order to get an approved permit for this through the structural department. So yes, definitely consider some of those tradesmen or tradespeople, to say it correctly. Consider those when you are doing your advertising and your marketing. So when you are sending out, even because I always advise everybody to go on social media, right? So when you're attempting to even speak to someone and have a conversation with someone, hey, take a look at some of the AC technicians who are also posting their services on Facebook. Take a look at some of those and see if there's something that you can help them out with. Because yes, in a lot of cases we're talking about permit runs as a permit run. You go into the building department, you're dropping off documents, but you can also do that online service. The permit itself is the same information they're going to ask you when you're doing it online. So it's a lot of the same. You're uploading, you're sending over the information, and that is what you're doing. So, yes, consider some of the service people, some of the trades people, consider those first when you're really looking to get your feet wet. It takes, like I said, it takes a little bit of the edge off when you're getting into those type of projects versus some of the new construction or the subdivisions that are going up or some of the commercial properties that are going up. It takes away a little bit of that fear because it allows you to get an understanding of what is needed. So I do not want to keep you too long. I just wanted to jump in here, talk about that a little bit, give you a little bit of direction, just so that you can go ahead and get your first client, get out there, get your first client, start building your practice, start building your business. And you can build it just like that. Those clients will pay you for those services. They will pay you just because you may look at them or may think that a plumber is not going to pay you what a general contractor will pay you. No, they will pay you for your service, and that's a great place to start. Plumbers, electricians, AC technicians, those are great places to start when it comes to building your permit running business. So thank you all so much for tuning in. I ask that if you have any comments, any questions, please feel free to leave them in the chat. I will definitely try to get back to you. And again, thank you for those of you who were in the online workshop this weekend. I really do appreciate it. And I want to say again, just in case you missed it at the beginning, I did not send out the replay because I noticed that on one of like the slides, my personal information was there. So I want to get that edited out and then I will send it over to you. So sorry about the delay, but that's what happened. I looked at it and I went, oh, wait a minute, I need to get that out. So I'm sending that off to be edited and that pulled out, and then I'll send you that replay. Okay. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to chit chatting with you later.